Hello, this is Julie Ann and Life with Collective Purpose. And I am delighted to have Heather Abbott with me today. She has been in the financial industry as an accountant for over 30 years, and she is the Prosperity Pro. She's all about prosperity and possibility. And we've just had a very interesting conversation, Heather. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about what you do.
Oh,
Welcome.
it's a pleasure to be here. I wish I was there. You being in Mexico at all?
Yes, isn't it great how technology can means that we can still communicate, but I've got a beautiful sunshine outside, so.
I have beautiful sunshine too. It's just I can still see a little tiny bits of snowbank. So
So tell me, Heather, Prosperity Pro. There are so many people that are in the prosperity industry and the financial industry, but you're doing something a little bit different. And I love what you said earlier about empowering women that have had a change of circumstances. Maybe they've been widowed, or maybe they're divorced or separated, and they're stepping into their independence and a little bit lost in their rowboat, circling around in the lake looking for help. So tell us how you help people like this.
well, I bring in two different approaches. One is I look at numbers. I have a system I call an unbudget that gives you basic understanding of where your money is going, what you can and cannot afford, how to figure out the things you can afford, essential things no matter what your income level is. One of the women I had in my course is a millionaire, but this really did help her to fix the holes in her financial bucket. Um, so there's that part of it, but then there's also getting to what really matters to you, what lights you up when you get to the end of your life and you're ready to go because you're happy and you're surrounded by your friends and family. What is it that you accomplished? What is it you did that makes you so happy in your final days? Right. So I bring those two. I try to pull together all of the mindset sort of work and getting over blocks. I also say that getting past your financial blocks is exactly the same in so many ways, not perfectly exact, but very similar to getting out of an abusive relationship. So I bring all of these things together and then align the two after I teach you about the basics of your finances. And I mean, I do have extensive knowledge, but I tend to stay with the more like a general practitioner than the actual surgeon or specialist, right? So I bring all that information together, give you what you need to know so that you can make the informed decisions. I am not one of those alpha females that's in your face. This is the way you do it. I'm more of a, yeah, okay, that's a choice. This is what you see with that, and guide them and
I
try to keep
love
my
what you
opinion out of it.
said. Right. And I love that we were talking about the importance of having a clear vision, but bringing in your passion and bringing in, as you say, like your legacy. Like, what is it that you want to leave behind? What is that? What is that image of you living your life to the full? And I like what you said about bringing in that sort of right brain, that creative brain when it comes to helping women, because I think a lot of women are really they feel a little overwhelmed by finances because they can't bring that, if you like, that matching place of how do I live my passion? How do I step into helping people, being of service, but at the same time actually making money from that? And that seems to be it's almost like an oxymoron that so many women feel that if they're living their passion, if they're helping other women, that it's almost wrong to make money.
I know, and that is one thing that really needs to be overcome because the more money you have, the more people you can help, and you are supposed to get paid to be you. It's just that is where it comes from. It just because it's easy for us doesn't mean it's easy for others. The reason I became an accountant and a financial advisor, both of them, was because it was easy. And I look at other people, experts like you, or people who have these incredible speaking careers, and I'm like, but I don't know how they did it. Like, isn't there somebody who can tell me, like, just and guide me? Well, I am that person for some people, right? And I take it for granted. But I know if I can break it down into something simple so that you know what you need to know and know that there aren't missing pieces. Because where I get stuck or have gotten stuck many times is because I don't know what it is that I don't have knowledge about,
Hmm.
right? Like you don't know what you don't know. You're trying to
Yes.
figure out, like, are there pieces that I should have information about, but I don't even know what those pieces are.
Hmm.
So breaking it down so that people know, okay, these are the things I need knowledge on, and there are these other parts, but I don't have to know about it now. That's what
Hmm.
I want to do for, especially for the women who are already overwhelmed, perhaps because they've gotten divorced or a relationship ending, death, you know, traumas already happening, and stepping into taking over the finances just feels so overwhelming. I'm great with number avoidant people. I can help them.
I love what you said about that. And we were talking earlier that, I really related to that myself. And I have also published books of many women that have been in abusive or controlling relationships. And then when they step away from that, whether it's in your case, your husband committed suicide, and I've also had a number of other authors that have been in the same situation where they're using the threat of killing themselves to try and keep you and to try and keep control. And eventually that actually does happen, as it was in your case. And when you are in that situation as a woman, and you've been in a very controlling relationship, and often your partner's controlled all of the finances, and then you're left trying to figure it all out, trying to figure out what they did, like where is everything, where are the passwords, where are all these payments that were being made. And and it's very difficult. It's one thing to even like step forward and say, I'm doing this, I can do this myself. And then it's another to actually step into it and, like you say, look for someone to support you, because it's like, I don't know where to start. I have never been doing this. Like, he was in control of the finances, and now I've suddenly got to be in control. And like, how do I do that? How do I approach that? So I love that you've got this little niche of helping women like this. And so how do you get them started, Heather? Like, when they're in this like very overwhelmed situation, like what do you do to get them started?
I honestly, I'm not sure overall what it would be. Everybody is so different with their situation.
Hmm.
Um, but mainly you have to start just with gentleness and not bringing in more overwhelm, because
Hmm.
having been in the situation of the overwhelm, unfortunately, I didn't have the financial um, lack of knowledge. I knew all the
Hmm.
things, right? Um, I actually had it pretty easy that way. I still didn't want to open mail, or actually didn't open a lot of mail for like 6 months. So
Hmm.
it has to be a gentle, easy approach. And I know I worked as a financial advisor as well, and they are coveted, I would say, amongst advisors, because you want to get this woman in and either maintain the money that you're managing that the husband had with you, or get her away from the person who was managing the money dealing with the husband.
Hmm.
And the book that I am writing on that, it's financial empowerment for women: how to understand and evaluate your finances and your financial advisor. So uh, that book isn't the first one that I'm going to get done, but that one is, I think I'm going to work on a course for that first to get that out there so that they can get the knowledge. I think the book will come after the course, but
Hmm.
the course and whenever I do a course, it tends to be group coaching. So I like the interaction so that I know I'm giving exactly what they need, until I get
Mm-hmm.
one recorded. Um, but it's
Yes.
basically starting in a gentle place where
Mm.
they can not be afraid and not get frightened off.
I think that's so important because, um, you know, speaking from personal experience, I know that, I've been a businesswoman for, I've had influence publishing for 12 years. And, but before that, I was also, in business. And, there's something about, you feel very, I guess, almost embarrassed, that you're a businesswoman and yet, you haven't been handling the finances. And so then you feel intimidated. And I know from my own experience that when I've spoken to financial advisors, that I feel intimidated by them, and then I don't want to I don't want to show like my lack of knowledge. And so then I end up being polite and I'm like, thanks so much for your help, and then put the phone down and think, I'm really none the wiser. I just, I don't understand what they're saying, but I'm too embarrassed to say that. And it's very interesting that you're approaching this niche and you're approaching it from a heart-centered perspective, and you are recognizing that women are overwhelmed and they need that gentle approach. That's so important.
Yes, and I will tell you, I was a broke accountant and financial advisor. I was, I had given my power away in that relationship
Mm.
completely. Like he would just mountains of debt and I'd try and fill them in, and I was so overwhelmed. And yes, so shame I have had and been
Mm.
there, because think about that, a broke accountant and actually still broke as a financial advisor. That's not something you want to admit to. It doesn't breed
Right.
confidence. Even though I
Right.
knew totally what I was doing and I could help other people, I had my own blocks that I
Mm.
needed to work on. So that is critical, to in helping people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And but I will say with the financial advisors, please speak up, because they do want to help you. And if you don't understand, we really, really do want to know that you're not understanding. So because they can word it differently, they can explain it. And if
Mm-hmm.
they don't, you need a different one.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Well,
as
I
simple
think
as that.
Heather, though, you even sound so much more approachable. You have a very gentle demeanor about you, and I can't wait to help you with your book because this is a resource that's really, really needed. It really is, and I love the analogy that we were talking about of being in that middle of the lake rowing your boat, like trying to find help, and but not knowing like which direction to go, and you being like a lighthouse, to help people. And I think that's wonderful that you've identified that kind of niche, and that you're moving forward to help women. And I can't wait to help you do that because it feels to me like this is something that women really need as they step into their power.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly, especially the heart-centered entrepreneurs and women who, I don't just work with entrepreneurs, it's the entrepreneurial mindset, right? It's
Mm,
the creativity and the willingness to step outside the box. Because if you're somebody who is happy working at a retail store and you have no desire to do anything different, you're not really a candidate for this sort of thing, right? Because you don't need
mm-hmm,
it,
mm-hmm.
because you're not trying to expand
Right.
in the same ways.
Yes, yes. Well, it's true, and I do. I feel that women that are ready to kind of step into their power, um, that very often that kind of left brain, the financial, the logical, the logistical, particularly if you're in a very creative mindset, that part can be a real challenge because it's like, I mean, I'm actually dyslexic, and so I'm a dyslexic book publisher. And what I realize is that the my a dyslexic brain is actually a big right brain, and our right brain is much bigger than our left brain. And so actually, that's why it's a good job to be a book publisher, because we can help people with the big picture, to organize the stories and the format and the layout, because we think big picture with our right brain. But then when it comes to the left brain, which is kind of like that financial side of things, and that side is, it needs support, it needs some help. And so it's really, I think I've met so many women that are, they're not necessarily, it manifests in so many ways. One way is dyslexia, another way is on the autistic scale, or ADHD, or there are many people that are, their right brain is obviously very dominant, and when it comes to left brain things like finances, they need some guidance and somebody to be able to help them, because it doesn't come naturally to them. But when you can actually pair those two things together, as you're doing, so you're actually taking that right brain mindset, and you're supporting and helping them and guiding them for true prosperity. And I love your branding of prosperity and possibility, because you're looking at the possibility of how they can truly step into all that they can be, and you're there to support them on that side. And I think that's awesome what you're doing, Heather. I love Prosperity Pro. That's fabulous.
Yes, I actually really like that as well. And the prosperity is the word that comes up the most. And it's because it encompasses all of it, right? The prosperity, the joy, the freedom. And there's so many aspects of each of those that need to be there, because wealth without joy or freedom is still restricted, and it's not true prosperity.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us, Heather, how do we get hold of you? How do we find out more information about what you're offering?
The best way is to go to my website, hcabbott.ca. That's ABBOTT.ca. If you go there, um, there's a button at the top that says Become an Insider, and that will take you to the sign up for my booklet. It's a really short booklet that you need to print out, read, and do the exercise, because it's actually an overview of the system that's actionable for getting you the clarity with the numbers. You can do it from this booklet. And I did it this way on purpose, because I want the people who are struggling financially to still have access to the system. Even if they don't have the access to me for the support, they can do it themselves. There's enough in that booklet. You can do it. And then you're on
Wow.
my email list, which is maybe an email every 2 weeks, maybe one a week, but never inundated with emails of promotional stuff. But if I give something away, or I'm doing a course or a talk, then it will be there.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So it's hcabbott.ca, and you're also on YouTube and LinkedIn. So how do we get
Yes.
you there?
If you look Heather C. Abbott, you always have to include the C, because there is another Heather Abbott that she was a Boston Marathon survivor. So she's kind of wrapped up the Heather Abbott search results. So you put in the C and you'll find me.
Highlight that. Put in the C and you'll find me, Heather C. Abbott.
Yes.
Okay, it's been really wonderful talking to you, Heather, and I am looking forward to helping you with your book, because we definitely need that. So many women that are looking for help with prosperity, and
I'm looking
marrying
forward to the
their,
help
yes.
from you.
Wow, this is going to be a wonderful, wonderful partnership, I just know. So, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for giving us your advice. I love it that you give free access to your system, that people can download the booklet from your website and they can actually get started on getting clarity around their numbers. So that's wonderful. Make sure everybody that's listening to this to take advantage of that on Heather's website, hcabbott.ca. And thank you for joining us today, Heather, on Life with Collective Purpose.